Behind the glamour and the followers lies a truth that even power and wealth can't escape. The law applies to everyone. The same cameras that once captured red carpets and sold out concerts now document handcuffs, mugshots, and courtrooms. In an age where celebrity scandals travel faster than headlines, some of the world's most recognizable names have traded fame for infamy. Their stories are as shocking as they are sobering. Tales of downfall, betrayal, greed, and justice finally catching up. From chart-topping singers to tech prodigies, from Hollywood stars to world leaders, this is a look at 10 famous people who are currently behind bars, paying the price for their actions. R. Kelly, once hailed as the king of R&B, built his empire on seductive melodies and chart-topping hits. For decades, he was untouchable, a symbol of musical success who wrote anthems that defined generations. But behind the fame hid a dark reality. After years of accusations and denials, the truth caught up with him. In 2022, R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison for sex trafficking and racketeering. The evidence was overwhelming. Testimonies from survivors revealed a chilling pattern of manipulation, control, and abuse stretching back decades. Kelly used his fame and influence to exploit young women and girls, many of whom were minors. The court found that his entourage and staff helped him recruit and silence victims, turning his fame into a weapon. Now serving his sentence at a high-security federal facility, Kelly's world of glitz and glamour has been replaced by the monotony of prison life. From commanding arenas to following daily routines behind bars, the contrast is stark. Once adored for his voice, he's now a cautionary tale about power, corruption, and the slow but certain reach of justice. The next on the list wasn't as laid back as his on-screen persona. Danny Masterson, best known for playing Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, was once the cool, sarcastic rebel audiences adored. Off-screen, he was known for his laid-back charm and a career that promised longevity. But behind the Hollywood facade lay a much darker story that would ultimately destroy his reputation and freedom. In 2023, Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison after being convicted on 2 counts of rape. The victims, former acquaintances and fellow members of the Church of Scientology, described a culture of silence and intimidation that had kept them from speaking out for years. During the trial, prosecutors revealed how Masterson used drugs and coercion to assault women in his home, and how the church allegedly discouraged them from going to authorities. The courtroom was tense as the verdict was read. His ex-wife, actress Bijou Phillips, wept while the victims expressed relief that justice had finally been served. Today, Masterson resides in a California state prison, serving a sentence that ensures he will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. The man who once played a lovable TV icon now faces decades of isolation, a sobering reminder that charm cannot cover crime. From a future as the next Steve Jobs to having a life behind bars, the next celebrity took the business world by storm. Elizabeth Holmes. Once the golden girl of Silicon Valley, built her empire on a dream to revolutionize healthcare with a single drop of blood. As the founder of Theranos, she promised technology that could run hundreds of medical tests from just a finger prick. Investors poured in hundreds of millions. The media crowned her the next Steve Jobs. She wore black turtlenecks, lowered her voice to sound authoritative, and spoke of a future where diagnostics were fast, cheap, and available to all. It was inspiring. It was visionary. It was also a lie. When the truth emerged, the illusion shattered. The machines didn't work. Test results were manipulated. Lives were endangered. By 2022, Holmes was convicted of wire fraud and conspiracy after deceiving investors, doctors, and patients. Her rise and fall became one of the most dramatic corporate scandals in American history. In 2023, reported to the federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas, to begin her 11 years on tents. Gone were the turtlenecks and TV interviews, replaced by beige uniforms and strict schedules. The woman who once stood at tech conferences now spends her days performing routine prison duties, separated from her young children. Her story has sparked endless debate about ambition and ethics. Was she a manipulative fraudster or a visionary blinded by her own delusion? Either way, Holmes became a symbol of how charisma and confidence can deceive even the world's smartest investors. In her cell, the woman who once claimed to change the world is now left to confront the wreckage of her own creation. Digging deeper into the life of this Christian character revealed a dark truth about the next celebrity on this list, Josh Duggar. This story is one that shook reality television to its core. Known from the hit TLC show 19 Kids and Counting, Josh was portrayed as the wholesome eldest son of a devout Christian family. But behind the image of purity and moral leadership lay a secret that would tear his world apart. In 2021, Duggar was convicted of receiving and possessing child pornography, some of the most disturbing material ever uncovered in such a case. Federal investigators revealed that he used sophisticated software to hide his online activities. His defense argued innocence, but digital evidence told a different story. The court sentenced him to 12.5 years in federal prison. Duggar is currently serving his sentence at FC1 Seagoville, a federal correctional institution in Texas known for housing sex offenders. Reports from inside suggest he spends his days in mandatory work programs and counseling sessions. His wife, Anna, continues to visit with their children, but the world that once celebrated their family as paragons of virtue has turned away. The Duggar scandal became more than just one man's downfall. It was a collapse of a carefully crafted public image. It raised uncomfortable questions about hypocrisy, faith, and accountability. For Josh, the world he built on morality has vanished, replaced by a reality that he cannot edit or hide from. The next celebrity on this list became even famous in prison for his crimes and supposed transformation: Charles Bronson. Across the Atlantic, one name has become synonymous with infamy, now known as Charles Salvador. Often dubbed Britain's most violent prisoner, Bronson's legend has been built over decades. A strange mix of brutality, eccentricity, and defiance. Originally jailed in 1974 for armed robbery, Bronson's sentence has stretched into nearly half a century, extended by countless violent incidents behind bars. He has taken hostages, battled guards, and even staged rooftop protests. Yet, over time, his story became part of British pop culture, immortalized by Tom Hardy in the 2008 biopic Bronson. Despite his reputation, Bronson has also shown flashes of transformation. He turned to art and poetry, selling his prison drawings and writing letters that reveal surprising depth. Still, his 2023 parole hearing, which was unusually public, ended with a denial. The board concluded that he remained too high a risk for release. Today, Bronson remains incarcerated in the UK. Still infamous, still unbroken. His story is both terrifying and fascinating. A man who became a cultural icon not through fame, but through an unending war with authority. Our next celebrity went from being worshipped all over the globe to residing behind bars. A true fall from grace. Kris Wu was once one of Asia's biggest pop icons. A global superstar who effortlessly crossed borders between China, South Korea, and Hollywood. A former member of the K-pop group EXO, he had it all: chart-topping hits, brand deals with luxury giants like Louis Vuitton, and a fan base that worshipped him like royalty. But behind the fame and glamour, a dark story was brewing that would bring his empire crashing down. In 2021, Kris Wu was arrested in Beijing after multiple women accused him of sexual assault, including allegations involving underage girls. The revelation spread like wildfire across social media, shaking China's entertainment industry to its core. The trial was swift and severe. In 2022, he was sentenced to 13 years in prison, followed by deportation after serving his term. Kris Wu is currently serving his sentence in China's Chaoyang Detention Center. His once luxurious lifestyle has been replaced by strict regimens, hard labor, and isolation from the outside world. All of his endorsements were terminated, and his music was scrubbed from streaming platforms in China, an almost total erasure of his public image. The fall of Kris Wu has become a defining example of China's zero-tolerance stance towards celebrity misconduct. Once a symbol of East-West cultural success, he now stands as a cautionary tale about power, privilege, and accountability in the global entertainment industry. The next celebrity is evidence that you can go from the #1 citizen of a country to wearing an outfit with numbers on it. Nicolas Sarkozy. The former president of France made history not just for his presidency, but for becoming the first modern French leader to be convicted and sentenced to prison for corruption. The once charismatic figure who led France from 2007 to 2012 found himself on the other side of the law, accused of attempting to bribe a magistrate in exchange for confidential information about a legal case. In 2021, Sarkozy was sentenced to 3 years, 2 of them suspended, for corruption and influence peddling. The court found that he and his lawyer had offered a prestigious job to a judge in return for insider information. Although Sarkozy has maintained his innocence and appealed the conviction, France's judiciary stood firm, underscoring that no one is above the law, not even a former president. His sentence was later confirmed, and Sarkozy has been serving it under house arrest with an electronic bracelet rather than behind bars. Even so, it marks a staggering fall for a man once at the height of political power. The image of Sarkozy confined to his home, unable to travel freely, has become a symbolic moment in French political history. A reminder that justice, however delayed, can reach even the most powerful. From protecting animals and keeping them from cages to ending up in a cage, the next celebrity shocked the world: Joe Exotic. The flamboyant, gun-toting, tiger-loving zookeeper made infamous by Netflix's Tiger King. His real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, and his story is as wild as the animals he once kept. Joe Exotic became a household name during the pandemic, captivating millions with his chaotic world of big cats, feuds, and flamboyant showmanship. But beyond the entertainment, there was real crime. In 2019, he was convicted of 17 federal charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder for hire for plotting to kill animal rights activist Carol Baskin, and multiple wildlife violations for illegally selling tiger cubs and falsifying records. He was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison, later reduced slightly after an appeal. Currently, Joe Exotic is serving his sentence at a federal medical center in Fort Worth, Texas. Despite his imprisonment, he remains active through social media posts managed by his team, still proclaiming his innocence and campaigning for a presidential pardon, which he famously sought from Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The Tiger King saga blurred the line between fame and infamy, entertainment and tragedy. Joe Exotic's life behind bars continues to feed the legend, showing how obsession with fame and revenge can turn even the most colorful personality into a cautionary tale. The next celebrity conviction is evidence that power, fame, and influence cannot protect you from the arms of the law. Harvey Weinstein. Once stood as a titan of Hollywood, a man whose influence shaped the careers of countless actors and filmmakers. As the co-founder of Miramax and the Weinstein Company, he helped bring films like Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, and The King's Speech to global acclaim. For decades, he walked red carpets, accepted awards, and wielded unchecked power behind the scenes. But that same power was also the weapon he used to exploit, intimidate, and silence dozens of women. In 2017, explosive reports by the New York Times and the New Yorker revealed decades of sexual harassment and assault allegations against him. The revelations ignited the global hashtag #MeToo movement, shifting the cultural landscape and giving voice to countless survivors. In 2020, Weinstein was convicted in New York of third-degree rape and a criminal sexual act, earning him a 23-year sentence. Later, in 2022, a Los Angeles court added another 16 years for additional assaults, effectively ensuring he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Now held at the Mohawk Correctional Facility in upstate New York, Weinstein's fall from power is complete. Once surrounded by stars and luxury, he now faces a future confined to a cell, reportedly struggling with health issues. His story has come to symbolize the end of Hollywood's open secret culture, forcing an industry and the world to confront systemic abuse. With a name like Love, the next celebrity shows all the wrong ways to love. Sean Diddy Combs, also known as Puff Daddy in Love, was long considered one of the most powerful moguls in the music industry. His empire spanned hip-hop, fashion, liquor brands, and television. From Bad Boy Records to global fame, He was the embodiment of success, swagger, and reinvention. But by 2024, a shocking series of legal and criminal revelations turned his empire into a collapsing monument of scandal. After years of rumors and civil lawsuits, the U.S. Justice Department launched an investigation into allegations of sex trafficking, assault, and racketeering tied to his business dealings and personal network. In mid-2024, Diddy was arrested following raids on his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. Federal prosecutors accused him of running what they described as a criminal enterprise of coercion and exploitation. While his legal team has denied the charges, Combs remains in custody pending trial after being denied bail due to flight risk concerns. The news stunned the entertainment world, one of its biggest icons now facing the possibility of a life sentence. Inside prison, reports describe Diddy as maintaining silence, allegedly spending his days in isolation at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Brands have cut ties, and streaming services quietly pulled promotional content linked to him. The man who once dominated hip-hop's golden age is now a prisoner awaiting judgment in a story still unfolding. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.